Okay, let's sum up what we learned last week, and we'll continue this a bit more. And that is, we learned in the Ramban that first and foremost that even Moshe Rabbeinu needed some kind of experience of this cerebral knowledge. He had faith. He had a certain definite profound knowledge of God. But yet, he needed some experiential reality there to make it vivid and real. That's what the Ramban points out, that's why he too needed the two miracles which God gave him at the Snet, basically to show that he also needs this chizuk and emunah, which is really profound. I mean, I think we discussed this last week, how, with greatest respect, we all have that problem. We have definitely I've said many times, I say our generation looks like Spielberg's E.T. I don't know if you would know that. I know, okay. E.T. is this character from who knows where, you know. He looks just like today's human being. He's got a blow. I mean, you get a metaphorically, obviously. You know, we look more like Obelisk, if you really want to know. But obesity is the name of the game in the Western world. But we're talking about it's a blown-up head, a mind full of information, right? Information revolution. You all have Wikipedia at your hands. You know, hey Reish, hey Gimel means I have a Google. You know what I mean? I mean, you're definitely well-informed, etc. You all learn Maxhava and Chassidut and all these different nice, cute things that you all know about the Rebbe Elimelech, and you go to Heritage and you go cry, sing Rebbe Elimelech at his kever in Lizensk. You do all these things. But, you know, E.T. has a very big blown-up head, but he has a razor-thin neck and an underdeveloped body. And metaphorically, it's exactly what I see here, a generation full of a lot of PhDs in God knowledge, but nothing has come down, internalized into an emotional knowledge, and therefore your religious body, so to speak, are shriveled, shrunk, and underdeveloped. And you're carrying a heavy weight of God knowledge, which is totally meaningless. It's just an overblown head. You're not in proportion to the body. There's no internalization from cerebral intelligence into emotional intelligence. That is something which I find, it's ETs, guys, all of you. And you're the better part of the deal. I don't want to say what I think about the world around me. I mean, they don't even have an ET head, at least. You know, you've been pumped up with all machshava and all these other nice words. And if shalom mokach, if shalom mokach, yishem, if shalom mi'atav ad olam. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of that, all these different, you know, and I read the Maral, of course. I think you're the Golem's cousin. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? And I saw the Ramchal. Is that the name of a horse in Kentucky? You know what I mean? Or something like that. You have all these names, Chals and Chals and Dals and Dals, and the Tanya writes it's Klippos. Right, what's that? Okay, I always do this to people. Oh, that's Sholosh Klips Atmes. Right. What are the three? Why not four? You know what I mean? You don't know anything. It's a bunch of cliches. You're stuffed up with knowledge, with no understanding, no wisdom. And ultimately, nothing really sinks down into the emotional psyche. The only thing you do for emotional psyche, you stand up on rooftops and sing Kumbaya, or you go to camp, and you go, wow, and your eyes swoon, and you feel like you're, Vivian Lee and Clark Gable in Gone with the Wind. That's the best you're going to get. Or I don't know, Casablanca. We're talking about old romantic. That's what your relationship with God is. The cerebral has nothing to do with the emotional, because the cerebral doesn't come down. So what you do, you supplement with a lot of emotional hype. That's really what we do. Let's be honest. We sing Kumbaya, or the Yismachu Machuscha Shemer Shabbos. I don't know, whatever. They're doing their geriatric shuffle over there after Kabbalah Shabbos. Okay, this is basically supplementing the lack of capability of internalizing wisdom into an emotional intelligence by, okay, that stays stuck up there because your neck equals the capability of translation from the cerebral to the emotional is really razor thin. This is AET. I don't know, Spielberg's an Ilui to chop this. And if he didn't, I'm telling him shot. Okay? This is a razor thin neck, nothing go across. And therefore, so what do? You have to feel good about yourself. So you take external, like all society takes, if nothing of value makes them happy, well, there are different external activities which can cause warmth, feeling, etc. I can tell you where to get it if you want. And this is what some people do, this way or that way. And some people sing Yismuch Malchuska and dance, and they think that the Hasidic Tish is getting together and singing and closing your eyes, going back and forth 50 times, and saying Kumbaya, I don't know, Lamancha, or whatever it only be. And you really feel, you feel like you're in a sauna, and you really feel good about yourself, but you didn't lose weight. You understand? You're still stuffed up with the nourishment. This is the way it is, okay? And I used to be very heavily involved in NCSY. I want you to understand. And I know the reality. Okay, that's the reality. It's very good till age X, but afterwards, when you grow up, you've got to grow up. And growing up is blowing up a mind, but also proportionally growing up a neck and allowing it the cerebral intelligence that you're full of. God, my grandmother didn't know what you guys know. Well, I don't talk about my students in Nishmat. They definitely know more than what my mother knew, okay? But the question is, we have to get the neck bigger in order to make the intelligence something which becomes vivid, real, not just one of those, how many angels dance on the pin of a needle, it is for most of us, okay? And that's why, I know what you grow payas. I know, the big thing is growing payas and having a big beard. You know what I mean? When I see a guy doing that, I ask him, what's the name of the girlfriend he's running away from? Okay? Like, are you in penance? What are you doing? Giving up for lost time? What exactly is the story? Okay? Because, you're running away from dealing with the real issue. So here I want you to know the Ramban tells that Moshe Rabbeinu had the same issue. That's not bad. Okay? Moshe Rabbeinu had somewhat of the same issue. He also needed some vivid experience of that awareness. That's what he did. He took the Ma'ifsim, which he experienced the fact that God defies science by turning water into blood in the Nachash. He felt it, saw it, inhaled it. You know what I mean? That helped him internalize it. That's what the Ramban writes. It's an unbelievable Ramban. Since I just wanted to repeat that. It's so important that even Moshe Rabbeinu needs that. Okay? So we also need that. So the question is, what do we do to help us internalize that information? Okay, that's a serious question, and the answer is quite obvious. I believe that the more one learns in the science, the more one is, and more experience, not just read science, but experiences nature. I just said, have you guys ever collected rocks? I don't know. Have you done anything? Did they take you on field trips? I don't know what you did. You grew up in the city. You think that tomatoes grow in plastic bags, on the Upper West Side in the supermarket shelf. They actually grow on a farm. Okay? Had you ever been there? For me, upstate New York means Lake George by the hotel. A goyse glick, you know what I mean? Thank you very much. I mean, like, you have to go to Yagilu, Yaloz, whatever it's called, with Tani Prero. He'll take you out in the wilderness and you'll know what it looks like. I'm not joking. I mean, you have to experience nature. B'shashi's b'nei ha'adam b'maisav v'bruav ha'nifloim. V'yer b'chachmas she'ein lo erech v'en kates. He actually has an emotional experience. Miyadhu, oyev, or yoreh, those are emotional experiences. So the Rambam clearly points out the way to take your cerebral intelligence into emotional experience by experiencing it, first of all, through nature. Take your science and experience it. Maybe you should offer your bar mitzvah presents for your children. Don't buy them a sefer. Buy them a microscope. Buy them a telescope. Take them to fossils. I can suggest good museums of natural history for them to see, experience, encounter things, touch it and feel it, and wow, what's this? And start talking. Okay? In other words, you want to know how to internalize your religion, it's by experiencing it. So the easiest thing, first and foremost, when you take a young child, he has to experience that. He has to experience it the way a young child, which is not a philosopher, which I hate to say with the word young child, you can be also 20 and be a young child. When you're not developed into a cerebral thinker yet, so first of all, basic experience should be experience of Chachmasai Yisbarach, the Chachma of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What greater awareness of the Chachma HaKadosh Baruch Hu is that just look in a freaking microscope. Take a follicle of hair, now and then it's to teach you a little bit about cells, etc., and think of the Chachma found there, and that's cool. Okay, you feel it; it's there. All of a sudden, you suddenly learn anatomy. You gotta be dumb not to realize. There's definitely the theory of random design for me is not logical. Honestly, I'm into intelligent design. Whether it took 40 billion years or 7 days doesn't matter to me at the moment. And the reality is, it's definitely intelligently designed, as far as my stupid logical mind tells me. If science is based on rational design, so why would I think that science started with random? It's like saying that logic started with pandemonium. Highly illogical. Therefore, I understand. I look at intelligence, I say, well, this is cool. That's what the Rambam says. That's how you encounter God. You suddenly become an obsessive desire to understand the profundity of philosophy. That could have been done at the age of 10, 12, 11 till 13 with all of you. It should have been done. So don't do the mistake that people did with you when you have your children. You better start giving them rock collections and leaf collections and telescopes and microscopes and teach them about dinosaurs and about geology and about all the other things. Don't worry about their religion. I'm telling you, this is conducive to religion. Okay? It internalizes Chochmasa Yizbach. It's a Rambam, not me. I don't do anything. I'm just reading a Rambam. This has to be known. Because it's a churban. At the moment, I have kids which have, because all experiences were almost saying, oh, no, we don't talk about that because dinosaurs didn't really happen, or whatever it only be, okay, or something like that. Like science has become an opposition to religion. So all of a sudden, religion has no normal tool of experiencing it and internalizing it outside of closing your eyes and feeling close to God, like I feel close to my toenails. You know what I mean? There is a clear way of internalizing the existence of Chochmah v'Kadosh Baruch Hu by experiencing it through science and nature. It's frightening. Okay? I mean, I told you I was stuck once in Heathrow Airport. We stuck for hours. And there was this kid there he's married, lives in Harnuf today. He learned here for 3 years. He learned here for 3 years. I was bored. He was sitting next to me in the lounge. I said, tell me something intelligent. So the kid talked to me about formations of crystals. I got an alien. Finally found someone who can tell me something interesting instead of telling me about Chefetz and Gavra. Your Chefetz and Gavra doesn't interest me. It's usually not intelligent. Okay? Tell me something which is informative and intelligent. He actually did. We had a rocking conversation. At the end he ended up here, obviously in my shir. Okay? At the end of the day, why? Not because he knew Gemara, because he knew about crystals and geology. It was interesting. He had an open mind, thinking, oh, I'm going to take this guy, let me make a human being out of it. It did. The idea is you have to experience this. That's number one. That's the first thing we saw in the Ramban last week. So sometimes you do it through a supernatural phenomenon. Moshe Rabbeinu, obviously, through a supernatural phenomenon, through the Nisim. That's what the Ramban wrote, if you recall. That's number one. Now, where did we see that? That was the Ramban we quoted over here. The Ramban is source 2. When the Ramban wrote, he asked, why did Moshe Rabbeinu need these 2 signs? And he writes, it's the second side, which is source 2, left column. I would say in the last 4 lines or 5 lines, 6 lines of that, of source number bet. It says, V'ulai afal pi shodio Hashem HaGadol, shebo nivra ha'olam. He already knew the Shem Yud Kei Vav. He not just knew information, he understood the profundity of what it was, which is something you would take a lifetime to understand. Okay? Boniya kol davar. He understood the source of all the metaphysical realities there. He wanted to show him how that Yud Kei Vav, which you now understand is the source of all, actually is realizing that potential by changing the laws of science. Laman yitchazek ha'inyan belibo Moshe. That's cool, right? That even God wanted the great Navi, which had the tremendous Yediyah al pi nevuah af al pi kain, lechazek es hadavar hazeh mitzvah Moshe. You know what that is? With 150 kavachemers, we need a bigger chizuk than that. If I had his Yediyah, I would think, no, but I'll give Moshe Rabbeinu a Navi. God is his Rebbe, for goodness sake, not for the Chokmah Chizuk. One would have thought that should, and the answer is no, it's not true. Even a Navi can have information which can stay cerebral, which does not come down totally into the emotion. It's not Chazuk. The Lashon is, V'yeda be'emes. What does be'emes mean? What do you think? The guy's lying? What's Yeda be'emes? Because emes doesn't just mean truth. Emes means absolute, muchlat. There's no other way out. And there's, I know things cerebrally, but if I don't experience it, so in my imagination, yeah, it's a truth, but maybe there's something else. Also, emes means it's there forever and never walks away from me. I mentioned that many a time. When it says a mayon ha-mechazeh, we talk about in Mishnah and Porah, we talk about a fountain of a well, which is not consistent, which is not there forever. It's mechazeh. It's sporadic. Something which sporadic is called kozov. And the flip of sporadic is consistent. That's called the opposite of kozov. It's called emes. That's why we say Megillah tzricha sirtut ke'amita shel Torah. Why is it called ke'amita shel Torah? Because Torah is never going to be batel. Kisvei HaKodesh, the status of the Vim and Ksuvim are not going. Is it going to be batel? First Rambam, right? About Yerushalmi, the last Rambam Hilchos Megillah, called Kisvei HaKodesh Asidim li batel. Their kedusha will finish. What will stay forever? Chamisha Chumshu Torah and Torah Sheba'al Peh. That's called emes. So they are, so to speak, cause of, and this is L'maisa emes, Ka'amita Shel Torah, Kipshutai. That's the Lashon of the Gemara in Megillah. Okay? In the Rambam, the Frankel's Girsa doesn't have Amita Shel Torah, says K'Torah Atzma, K'Sefer Torah Atzma. The Lashon of the Rambam is K'Torah Atzma, and but in the Frankel's Rambam, it's very important because the son does a briskerov. It's not K'Torah Atzma, it's K'Sefer Torah Atzma. Just remember that, which is the Girsa Amsukenis. This undermines a lot of shtickle Torah. That's why I didn't mention what we did to Sugi, because I thought it was wrong. Okay, because that's stuck in the emes. If the gear says Kasefer Torah Atzma, the whole shtickle Torah falls apart if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but that's the way it happens. Okay, so if that's the truth, so that shtickle you don't make a brichas Torah on anymore. You realize that. It's gone. It was nice try. Didn't work, like a lot of the stuff. Okay, anyway, at the end of the day, but the Gemara says the Lashon Ka'amita Shel Torah. Now, if it means the Sefer Torah, what does it mean Amita Shel Torah? It means it has a din sirta, which is ma'akiv. That's by Sefer Torah, as opposed to ksuvim. Sirta is ma'akiv in ksuvim. That mechuyev medin Megillah. Medin is the Sefer of Megillah. Ksuvim, because there's Allah that gives me to be ksuvim, but it's not a din of the Sefer Torah. This is a din of the Sefer Torah. Megillah, it's a din Sefer. It needs a sirta. That's the pashist of that Gemara, and whatever was written in Chidush Ariz, let it be. That's what he says. That's called V'yeda be'emes. He knows it not sporadically, not inspiration, not it went up and down. It's stuck forever. It's the way you see things. See, it became your paradigm. That's how he sees it. Nothing's changed. It's there. It's no more belief or just cerebral. That's how your eyes see things. He gave you lenses. That's why it's called V'yeda be'emes. V'tayli beinu ba'avtacha be'emes means what? I know we're a bunch of fakers. Let's try to do it sincerely. Is that what it means? No, that's not what it means. La'avtacha be'emes means consistently and always. Muchlat. Rambam, Hilchos Yisodei HaTorah, Perek Aleph, Halacha, Beis or Gimel, when he describes that concept. Absolute existent. We discussed this once. I mentioned a chinuch in Parshas Yisro on Leisis Hashem Hashav. You should look it up. Machnis it's atzboi lemechitzes ha'emes. Lashon of the chinuch. Person which makes a shvuah, he's putting himself in the realm of absolute existence. A very important lashon of the Sefer HaChinuch and on the Lisser of Leisis Hashem Hashav. Look it up. These are things that we mentioned in class, so I'm making it a bit short. So at the end of the day, that's what it means. You want to know it, that becomes the way you see things, not just you believe or you know. You have to experience them. Even Moshe Rabbeinu. And then he continues, as that's one thing. So he says, "Daila Moshe b'shnei osos." For him, it's enough to have 2 osos. Not bad, okay? But that means, but Moshe Rabbeinu needs 2 osos. The Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't do nisim because he's into showing tricks. It was needed for Moshe to get to the darga of Yediyah Be'emes. He needed 2 osos. He himself needed to experience this reality of Yud Kei Vav Kei, which is Mishana Satev. He had to see it, feel it, touch it. And for him, it was enough too. For us, I hate to say how much we need. So now, how do we do this to know what we need? So that's what we pointed out in the first Ramban, in the first page, where he describes that the idea behind it was, as we pointed out, the idea behind it was that tefillah is something which will allow us to understand and to internalize emunah. And this is the Ramban in Gimel Yud Gimel, the long Ramban, where he wrote in the left column again, the second paragraph. Hinei ana Elokim eyeh asher eyeh. I will be that which I will be. There used to be an old song, Kesh Sera Sera. What will be, will be. I'm there. Okay? Now, I told you, I don't want to cook up this Afilu Ba'astorah song, because I don't think that's a Megala Panim B'Reb Nachman Shalei Ka'alacha. But Lamaisa, eyeh asher eyeh. That's a Chazal, so I don't need Reb Nachman Bresler of that. It's the Medrash on the spot. I will be with you in all your tzoros. Okay, so if you want to make a song, don't write a Afilu Ba'astorah, because that's pretty bad. Say Ekasher, Eked. No, find out a niggun for it. Ask some Chassidish Shehid in Williamsburg, they'll figure it out, and they'll make a song. That's the makar. So it says, Eyeh imchem b'tzara zu, ve'yeh imchem b'tzarot acherot. Amar lefanav Ribono shel olam, daya l'tzara b'shaita. Amar lo yafa amarta. Well, I'm supposed to tell them there's going to be more tzoros. He says, Who are you, God? I'm the guy that's always going to be with you in all your troubles. What, you want me to tell them now that there's going to be more troubles? They're at the moment thinking, as soon as we're redeemed, we have shiny faces and we have Colgate, teeth, and we look good and we'll be smiling all day. No, God says, don't worry about it. You're redeemed now. You're going to fall soon. Don't worry about it, okay? God's practical. And Moshe says, listen, don't tell them these things at the moment. Like, you don't tell a little kid, you understand you're going to fail. Okay, make him feel good. He'll fail. Don't worry about it. And then you have to pick him up again. But to promise it, to put it in your face, okay, I want to tell you, get married and say, love you, let's get married. But you have to understand, we're going to fight every 3 months, and you're probably going to want to go home. Do me a favor, let's decide that we don't pack the suitcase. Can you imagine doing this while you're proposing? Describing, the different rules and how you interact in a married life. It's not all rosy, goodness sakes. That's what they do. They drug you up for Shever Brachas, the meal that everything is like, brother, you wake up in the jingle jangle morning that comes after, you say, hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, where am I? You know what I mean? Like, what's this all about? You know what I mean? And then you live and learn, and all of a sudden it becomes the greatest thing. And I can tell you now, 45 years marriage, the best thing I've done in my life. There couldn't be anything better. Okay, it was the best and most important thing, a decision I ever made in my life, and really, God, man, super investment. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. But don't think for 1 minute it was all. Hey, it doesn't work that way. We're human beings. Human beings have, I told you we have to learn how to clean our edges, our surfaces, until finally internalize the glue between you, and ultimately become one. It takes. You need seichel, by the way. I do suggest you need seichel. Without that, it's not going to happen. Behemoths don't have seichel, so they don't have a mishpacha. It's like neither do horses. They meet together, have a little fun, and leave, right? About seichel, that's something else. So this is a big yisoid. I have to understand that. So he says, "Dai l'tzor b'shaita." You have to tell them now there's going to be tzoros later. Relax. Now we're proposing. I'm introducing you to them. Remember, they were without you for 210 years. Zok the Ramban. Kol tomar lebnei Yisrael. L'shon Rashi midivri Rabbi Seinu brachas v'kavana lehem bazeh ki Moshe amar lefnei barach v'amru lo ma shmo she'yagid lem Hashem she'yirehu ra'ash limal hamtziut v'l'hashgacha. Give me something. I need philosophical information which will totally introduce them into the fact that there's a one God, which is the source of it all, and not just that, but he also intervenes and looks into the world. Metzius and Hashgacha. So what does he say to them? What do they need? More philosophical rayas? Lo tzarich et zeh. Ein lem tzorich leraya acheres ki eyeyem b'chol tzorosam. The biggest raya, he cares, he's always going to be there with you. Why? Yikre'eni ve'enam. If they really cry for real, I'll be there. People ask me, I prayed, it didn't work. I talked about your prayer. I told you last week, you davened, what's the you davened? Did you clean the surfaces? Before you, tefillah be'emes means you first did tshuva. Does anybody in this room ever do tshuva? I know we talk about tshuva, do tshuva? Mama's changed. It's wow, I wish it'd be true. I think only non-religious Jews do tshuva. Religious Jews don't repent. They're sorry. Yeah. They repent. They don't go through a major metamorphosis of change of personality. They don't have their paradigm switch. I hate to say it. And we explained this once. Reb Mנחem says the reason is because they're too scared to look into their private cesspools, to analyze their chisroinus. They're scared. They're not sure of themselves, not happy. Therefore, no one's going to look into and undermine the complacency of your ego of feeling good about yourself, because if you do without a sense of happiness, you will blow your mind and you will go into depression. It's dangerous. To really do vidui is a super dangerous, psychologically, we're crazy. People need to have a sense of comfort in order to exist. That's how we were created, okay? You expect me to uproot my comfort zone totally to an objective assessment of the cesspool, which is my heart? You got to be out of your freaking mind. So how does God want me to do this? So God first wants you to be a happy person. That's the Klal Gadol, Mנחem says. First, have a healthy sense of confidence. First, appreciate the good things that you are and that you have, and everybody has something. And without that, don't even begin this. All this cutting into yourself, do me a favor, the Navaricus can do it. You first be happy. Now, not artificially happy, kumbaya, my Lord, and all. No, it means analyze your positive aspects, and everybody here knows that he has something special and unique, and really bask in it, love it. He says, hey, just be cool. You're Jewish, man. That's really something. Is it? Well, we're just born with it. I just took it for granted. That's why Messiah will not be coming from a family of regular Jews. They're going to be from converts. Because converts appreciate their Judaism. They worked for it. You're born in it. Big deal. Who are you? Mashiach has to come from David, which is the children of Rus. You understand? You have to appreciate what you have. If you appreciate what you have, you're really happy. It's a zchus gadol to be a member of this club. It's unbelievable. Fi b'dekapa. You know, like you're an unbelievable club. You got a hell of a lot of work. Okay, you know, you're in the Marines, and God decided you're going to be in the Marines. Well, he's a pretty good, CO, and he calls the shots. Commanding officer says you're in the Marines. Chaim, would you mean it? You poor kid. Yeah, I want my neighbor to be the Marines. I want to be behind a desk, and pull up turnips or something like that. And that's what you say. But Yatav V'chartana means you were chosen for a heavy job. Lo bali, between you want to work hard. Who wants to work hard? Okay. No, you got to be very happy you're working hard. You'll be super appreciating that reality. Mנחem writes this. If you would only appreciate Judaism and what it really means in the broad picture, not some kind of a racist or thing like that. No, appreciate the responsibilities, the potential, the job, in the broad face of history, what is your place, or what is the place of this nation, and understand, wow, think this little nation, which is a pain in the, a thorn in the side of most of humanity, has unbelievably, because of it and through its cousins or whatever it only be, has changed the face of culture. We are basically a monotheistic world. The Western world is heavily monotheistic. We were all pagans, remember us? And the Bible, at the end of the day, is still the bestseller of the Western world, which is really interesting, okay? I remember the Beatles, you said, no, we're more important than the Bible. I remember there was a whole scandal to say because their sales, were more than the Bible that week. Okay, so it was Abbey Road, whatever which the album was over there. So you know what I mean? Nah, garnished. It's unbelievable. That's very important. It also means you have such a heavy responsibility that if you shirk from your responsibility, you're a deserter. You may be moving the world south instead of north. It's a frightening responsibility, but it's really, you should be young. Chayalim almonim hinenu belim madim mishura mishacheret rak hamavet. I don't know if you know what that is. That is the anthem of the Irgun. Anonymous soldiers, we have no uniforms, and you can't check out. We're in, and death is what releases us from conscription. Are we getting that straight? It's very Jewish. Okay, that's what you are. Feel that, and then he said, then you can start doing tshuva. Feel that and be proud of it. Then you can be happy, and then you can start looking at, okay, now, since I'm a soldier, and I'm really so important, so I have to make sure that all my machinery is works. So I guess you have to clean all your stuff, so you got to see what's greasy or not. You have to understand. Yeah, then you have to start, then you can look into things. It's a very big yesod, Reb Nachman writes. Tshuva can only be done mitaych simcha, mitaych bitachon. You have to be happy with yourself. That's what Reb Nachman writes, and it's an unbelievable thing to remember, because I really think that most people don't really do tshuva. They spend 40 days a year playing lip service to it, and all the different maxshava things. This, Reb Elazar ben Derdaya did tshuva. Yeah, wow. Right. Yeah, well, he had to go through major trauma to do tshuva. Well, if when you're end of the rope, that's what happens. I'm telling you, then you do tshuva, because there's no going down. It's either death or up. So I guess you try to go up, okay? Because you realize you're a waste of space and the oxygen is baltashchis on you. But if you don't feel that way, and you shouldn't feel that way before you have a sense of existence, because if you're just going to feel that, you'll be a depressed animal, you'll die. It's not going to happen. You have healthy mechanisms to protect you from such depression. Thank God, I hope. And if you don't, well, better see a doctor. This is a reality. I want us to understand this. So he says, but if you do it right, and you do daven, God does answer. Didn't we learn that in the Ramban? Lo yasur mitzadik einav, a person which really thinks, lives in God awareness, God protects him even from mikrim, from regular occurrences. So this is the biggest raya for hashgacha and for metzias, that if you pray, it works. If you pray correctly. That's what he writes. They will call, I will answer. And this is the raya on metzias Hashem and hashgachasai. But who are raya gdola? Sheyesh Elokim b'Yisrael krovim elav b'chol kareinu elav v'yesh Elohim shoftim ba'aretz. Ad kan divrei Ramban. So we clearly saw here that tefillah is a way of internalizing cerebral faith, experiencing it, because the fact that when you pray you get an answer. That's what the Ramban writes. I took that to somewhere else. The idea that prayer is an exercise in internalizing the vividness of God awareness is seen in multiple places in tefillah, and here I'm going to show you a few of them at the moment. Start with the, as we pointed out, the Rambam says in Hilchos Tefillah, we have that in source, it's too fast, I want to do all of this today. In source Gimel, where it says, again, as I remember, I had missed this, I'll say Bal Peh, source Gimel, Chamish Dvar Ma'akim V'Sat Tefillah, it's Ma'akim V'Sat Tefillah, Afal Pi She'Higia Zmana, even if time came, but if you didn't do these three things, your tefillah is not a tefillah. What are they? First of all, ketairos yadayim, which I explained at length of what that meant. Okay, kisoy erva I also explained, and now the last one is taras makam atefillah. It has to be an appropriate place. And what's it in? V'dvarim achoyv zim oisay. If there are things which force you to daven fast. Should I tell you how many things? I told you, Mנחem Manhattan is definitely a matzav of dvarim achoyv zim oisay. Okay. Or if the word describes if you're a painter, you're in the middle of work, so you're on the scaffolding. So okay, you do a fast Shemona Esrei. You know the type. Or you're about to run off. I got 2 minutes. Okay, I'll do one of these. I'll send an email to God. That type. That's ma'akev tefillah. Don't do it, because it's not tefillah anyway. He says and kavanas alev. The Rambam describes in the fifth halach over there. What is the concept of Kavanas Alev? In Halacha Tazayin, he says, what is it? It's not here. It's the halacha of you have to oimed shchina oimed. He's standing mula shchina. You're standing mula shchina. And I'm going to give you an example of halachas for that. You're standing mula shchina. What does that mean to you? Now it's ma'akev. That means every person in this room, when he davens Shemona Esrei, he has to contemplate that he's standing mula shchina. What does shchina mean? Shechina means to say that expression of God which we experience in our lives. The God which you see in science, that you can definitely point out and see him, is Chachma. That God of creation, the God of nature. The God which you somehow think or feel or believe that you are accountable to, Schar and Einish. The God which calls the shots, okay, it's called Hashgacha. All that's called Shechina. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei is the name of God, source of the primary infinite source of all that. Shechina is Shochein, he resides. That means it's experiential. You must experience God through nature, Hashgacha, Schar, V'Einish. And that's who you daven to. Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam. Okay, you said you. That means you know him. The Rashba in Tshuva writes, why is it in Birchas HaMitzvos we have a neurosis? We start Baruch Atah Hashem, okay? You, okay? Then you say Elokeinu, Asher Kiddishanu. What's Kiddishanu? That's third person. It should say Asher Kiddashtanu. B'mitzvaysecha. You started with Baruch Atah, you should end Asher Kiddashtanu b'mitzvaysecha. And all of a sudden you said Asher Kiddashanu b'mitzvaysav. You're talking to me and now you're talking about someone you have two gods? Well, maybe. Possibility. Shema yesh lomar. So what are we going to say? What are you going to say? So the Rashba asked the question. Rashba asked the question in Tshuvas Rashba, and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is nister b'atzmiyusai and nigle b'maisov. So the God that I know, straight, I can talk to you first person, Atah, that's the one that is nigle b'maisov. I know what you do. You're Shekhinah. You're the God of science, the God of, you're the God that, Ma'ariv Aravim, I don't know, you do Yitzhak Ma'orais. I read all the Psukkah de Zimra, I read all about the God, which Mashlech Kacha Kefitim, Vnei Karosam Miyamod, Yishtav Dvarav Yam Seim, Yashel Rucha Yizdumoim. Maybe you should read Baruch Nafshi, it's coming up next week. You should read it before BU and to understand, wow, it's really cool. It's a great celebration. You have to go to Kruger Park and experience Baruch Nafshi. You're never going to experience it on the Upper West Side or the Upper East Side. That there's tomatoes or apples that they shine up full of wax and they have no taste. You got to go to nature. Okay, I always felt it. It's Kulei Sheker, that whole place. Unbelievable. I see this such beautiful fruit. So I bought once an apple over there on Broadway. It tasted like wax. There was no taste to it. And Eretz Yisrael, the fruit don't look good, but they're juicy. They're like the real thing. You know what I mean? In America, the real thing is Coca-Cola. You know what I mean? That's all the real thing. There's no real thing. That's Kulei Sheker v'Ramiyah. This, at least, Eretz Yisrael, the fruit is fruit. I know what it is. You want to get a good drink, you go to South Africa, read Seri's fruit juices, okay? Das ist etwas gut, ich verstehe. It's fruit. Okay? In America, more the kulama, the best you get is Tropicana, or what's it called? Golden Flow, or something like that, the Square orange juice. Right? Square orange juice. I didn't know they had oranges in Square. Okay, but whatever, you know what I mean? That's what you guys get. You have to, and they stick it with sugar, whatever it is. These Americano, kulei chitzonius, and it's not. You're not touching nature, and running away from nature is running away from God. Because nature is a tool of understanding God. We taught that many a time. The Abarbanel explains, I remember teaching this to you, that one of the problems of Dora Palaga was because they were walking away from agrarian society and want to live in an urban sprawl. And he felt going away from agrarian society to urban sprawl is walking away from one of the major, most conducive tools, which is most conducive to God awareness. When you're a farmer, believe me, you start praying for rain. If not, you send a telegram to the Eidah Charedis that they should do the rain dance for you. You know what I mean? Or get some local Indian or do a divining. You'll find also you understand the limitations of man and you start believing in something. Okay, when you grew up, on a Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, you didn't need that. You understand? So that's what the Abarbanel writes. Running away from nature is running away from a great tool of God awareness. A society which wants to run away from nature is a society which wants to run away from God awareness. Makes a lot of sense. To think of it. Okay, this is the way Allah sees these things. So when we're talking about kavana, you have to have a kavana. You should be sitting down thinking for hours. What's meant shechina to you? And your shechina is not my shechina. Your experiences of life are not mine. You have to see what is it. Where did you experience shechina? Because that's what you're standing in front of in tefillah. Once took a group of guys. Wherever we were in Vermont for Shabbos. We had little vapors in our minds. It was a very good tish, suited Shabbos with a lot of, whatever, a lot of harchavas hadas. So it was a bit, so we went outside, it was freezing outside, and I decided, showing the guys the constellations. And I suddenly realized New Yorkers don't know what stars look like. It was frightening. I'm trying to show the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, you know, the whole... So where are you guys from? From Brooklyn? Like verstehe nicht. No! They don't know. Don't you understand the chachma, to see the beauty of nature? It's so enriching, and you're missing it. You guys really have to go near Masada in the desert, or Mechdesh Rimon. Sleep there for 2 nights. Really? I think I'm joking. I think it'd be chachana for Elul. Okay? Maybe I'm not sure. It would be nice to take it there for Elul. Okay? You know what I mean? Sleep in the desert and have someone teach you the stars are beautiful there. That's where the planetarium is in this country, in Rimon. You probably know, right? You don't know. Doesn't matter. Okay? Mitzpeh Rimon. That's where our planetarium is, our national planetarium. It's unbelievable. You poor guys, you know about these things. You're missing tools. But you have to chop all that to what your kavanah for davening is. When I sit in Shechina, I think about the God I saw in the stars, the God I saw under the microscope, the God I experienced in my crazy whirlwind of life. Believe me, I met a lot of interesting people through life, and a lot of interesting, smelled a lot of things, experienced a lot of things, and all that is for me Shechina. So everyone has to have his own understanding of Shechina. You can't. It's not like Shechina, God that resides. That's cerebral, you freaking idiot. You stand in front of an idea, that's a sheker. Standing in front of is an experiential reality. So what are you standing in front of? What are you in front of? What is the presence that you are experiencing? It can only be subjective. There's no way. There's no off-the-rack reality for this. It's sheker. You want a sheker gesundheit? You want to lie. Most people do anyway. But we know that we learned the Rashi and Yuma want that God hates liars, especially by davening, right? That's what the Gemara says. Yodes Rebbeinu Kisayin Shekehu. God doesn't like you to lie to him. Do me a favor. Don't tell me I'm a gadol giber v'noira if you don't really think so. The Gemara says. That's why after the Churban, the first Churban, the Nevi'im stopped saying Gadol Gibber V'Noira because they believed it but didn't understand it and they didn't experience it, and they knew God doesn't want them to praise Him with things they can't really see. They stopped saying it until the business of Mordechai and Esther. That's almost 70 years. They didn't say Gadol Gibber V'Noira. That's frightening. Rashi, because they knew the Kodesh Baruch hates sheker. But you're mechuyev al pidin for kavanah lifnei hashchina. What does that mean for you? I don't know, Shechina. So I can see this writing on a big board. Shechina, here I'm in front of it. Okay? There was once a retreat, I had an acquaintance, doesn't matter. He was a much older than me, but I had met him twice. Very interesting man. He was the father of a new age reality in Judaism. He had to do with the Reconstructionist movement. In Philadelphia. His name was Dr. Zalman Schechter, Shalom Schechter. Very interesting guy without going into it. He was one of the first shluchim of Lubavitcher Rebbe way back then to the campuses, but then he went off and created his own world. We will. Good read about the guy if you want. Go to, there's a great book called The Jew and the Lotus, Lotus, written by Roger Kamenetz. He stars in the book. That's a bunch of Jews got together to have a dialogue with the Dalai Lama, which is really a good book, okay? And I picked it up in Memphis one year because some people knew that I was looking for it. Interesting. I had one of their children I knew from my Bechinos. They never came to give away with the Gush, but they knew that I was looking for the book. I came to Memphis and, hey, Rabbi, this is for you. So I said, wow, that's like a Nafal Pitkim Mishamaya. I got something from heaven. Great read, I suggest it, for those who are ashtikul balidas. There's another book called Stalking Elijah, but we're going to let that one go. So this is I'm trying to enhance your cultural world. Try to figure out where I'm coming from. Never figure that out. This colors my taste. You don't hop. All this also colors how I see a Blat Gemara, how I say a Svara in, I don't know what, in Otzitz Nakuv, or on the other hand, how I read Tanakh to try to understand where the Gvulos are, etc. Yeah, everything colors everything. You think for 1 minute that rock formations don't color the way you understand the pshat in the Gersa Kodesh of the Balatanya? You don't chap. Oh, does it? You don't understand how much it does, how everything is connected and everything colors everything. It's the honest truth. Just you don't walk like a crazy man, no, like a kid going in Toys R Us. Chap, no. First one aisle, the next aisle, the next aisle, the next. There's a lot of aisles. Okay, you got to finish the store. Okay, but you start in a systematic order. Some of these kids jump to aisle. I'm doing one in aisle 1, going to aisle 7, going back to aisle 6. Nothing. Waste of time. It's nothing more than narcissism. You want to feel good about yourself, so you want to feel accomplished. It's garnished. Meaningless activity. I'm telling you right now. Book after book after book after book. Put a lot of books. Okay, you know what I mean? Book. That's what you need. A lot of books. Get rid of your computers. Throw away your Oitzer Chachma and Oitzer this and Oitzer that. Don't go to Wikipedia. Buy an Encyclopedia Britannica. Start reading, okay? Read a book. Shas, it's 20 freaking volumes. That's all it is, okay? And the Britannica is bigger, for goodness sakes. 20 volumes. That's all it is, okay? Finish it. Okay, how big is Shulchan Aruch? For goodness sakes. I think, what's Rambam? 5 krachim. Forget the guys at the sides of the beginning. Just the guy in the middle. Okay, you don't understand this. It's crazy. You have no musagim. Like a waste of time. Do it in an orderly fashion. 1 year learn Ramban. Next year learn Ibn Ezra. Next year learn Sforna. Next year learn Chizkuni. You know what I mean? Then Chazer, and then go back. Year after year after year after year after year. Each year you're kind of another sefer. 1 year you learn Revuchim. Next year you learn Ramchal. Next year you learn I don't know what Sefer Ikrim. It takes 2 years, so 2 years you plan to die tomorrow. There's no cheskes shema yomus la'alta loy chashinon. I don't understand. You have a cheskes chaim, so plan for 20 years. What's the problem? Okay, plan for 20 years and get the freaking thing done. I don't understand. It's got to stop. Because who else is going to teach Torah for generations further? A bunch of guys that know 3 midrash and say maybe it is possible. What are you going to do? What's going to be with God's Torah and what's going to be with God's Yiddishkeit? It's a frightening experience. I'm saying it right now because I'm hurting. What's going to be with Kadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah? If it's so low, there's no Amalah Torah. There's no any more Yediyas Torah. It's like frightening because there's no Seder. You have to page after page, book after book, and just get it done. You may be a top-notch lawyer, doctor, scientist, I don't know, engineer, but doesn't mean you don't have time to continue learning. I don't know how long it takes. Well, be an actuary, you'll have more time. But there's no reason, instead of just make your priorities, no reason that you can't, in all truth, put away a nice amount of hours at a weekly basis. It's just like when you're in certain yeshivas where people think that June Zman is an optional and the Zman ends in May. I hate to tell you, the year is 52 weeks. It's not 24 or 22 of the academic calendar. Which means to say, let's say you're doing multidiscipline in YU, for example, so for 22 weeks, you have to test. 22 weeks, you're multidiscipline, right, which really means you're limited. But brother dear, there's another freaking 30 weeks there that you can pile in 15 hours a day of Limud Torah. You don't have to save the whales. No one tells you to be, to go to build hospitals in Togo. And I don't mind if you don't decide to, to be makar of this and that. Do me a favor. Charity starts at home. Okay? First become inspired, intelligent human beings. So that means to say your formative years. We all know that once you become professionals, you won't be doing all this volunteering. You have no time. Obviously, you have a lot of time. The Chazal say, "En lecha ben chayrin al misha oisek b'Torah." Yeah, you're a very free man. You do whatever you want with your time. So you volunteer, you save the whales. Willie the whale is waiting for you. Or I don't know what. You're going to build hospitals in Togo. I says you will do the Peace Corps. You'll do so many important things. The one thing you won't do, you won't learn. Don't you understand that those formative years, that's what you're supposed to be doing? And afterwards, if you do it well, then when you're a lawyer, instead of saying you have 6 weeks vacation, so 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you'll set aside to volunteer for Klal Yisrael, and 3 weeks you do mountain climbing in Nepal, for all I know, if that's what you want to do, or fishing in Montana. It's okay with me. I don't have a problem. Do what you want to do, unless you want to play golf. For that, you go to Maryland. But really, I don't understand. What do you guys? Was tut sich da? Where's the dreams of growing in Torah and Yerushalayim and ultimately changing the face of the world and creating a better world around you? How will you ever be equipped? I hate to say this, I should be doing this on a Friday night, but I'm not here for Friday night so long, so I'm killing you guys now about it. But it's the truth. It's the terrible truth. This is the honest truth. So when we talk about this, understand one thing. That's all that is Shekhinah. All that, with all that you should be doing, that's what you're supposed to be thinking before you daven. And that's ma'akiv in tefillah. Do you understand what that means? That means if you didn't really think of who you're standing, my who? God. Why'd you call him God? Call him Frankenstein. What does it mean, God? What do you mean? Who's God? God is God. Yeah, I know that. What does that mean to you? You know, I told you the story, okay? They think the guy's God. Guy can't be God. God is God. It's like that gas station attendant on the Palisades. Did you read the story? You thought, yeah. There's no son of God, man. God is God. Yeah, but who's God? What are you talking about? What does God mean to you? I don't know. You know, this old guy up there on the throne, it says God on it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? It's supposed to be Oimid Lifnei. It's a kavan of Oimid Lifnei Ashchina. Was meint das? I'm trying to think what people think. What do you think when you go to the hotel? Would you believe it? Those rocks are marble? I'm sure that you didn't think. Okay? Like, what are you thinking about? That I close my eyes and you say to them, okay, and now what? I'm trying to understand, do you have a kavanah of what you're standing in front of? These so many halachas which deal with that the halachas how to get dressed in your room. B'darkei tznius. Why? Because if you experience experientially that you're standing in front of the Shekhinah, you somehow have a certain decorum, and you're going to not just walk around in your Speedos. Okay? You're going to somehow be more tsanua about things. What's that for? Those halachas are to internalize, again, to experience. Those are experience. All those halachas are chinuch to internalize the ideas that your ET mind is there to broaden out the throat. That's what it's for. That's the halachas of how to get dressed in the morning. Okay? Let's look at other halachas. Some of them are quite frightening. I'm going to show some Gemaras here. Read the Gemara Daf Chaf, source Dalet. This is the source of what I just said now. Tanu Rabbanon, Kishachala Rebbe Eliezer, Nichzu Talmidov Levakroi. Amla Rabbeinu, Limatanu Orchos Chaim, teach us the road of life. V'niskeben l'chaya olam haba. You understand who we're talking about? These are Talmidei Tanoim. I don't know, they were all Roy Rosh. I can't call them Tanoim. But they're the Talmidim of the Tana, Rebbe Eliezer. And what? They ask him, give us the key to life, man. We should all get to Olam Haba. Where you been until now, into Santa. So there's got to be one trick. What does it mean? It means to say, look, we know a lot of things. Give us basics that we can focus on. Because we're doing so many things, but we're not focused. Give us something we can focus on, and through that we'll be Nizkil Chai Olam Haba. So when he says, Amalem, Hizaru b'kvod chavrechem. First of all, honor each other. It means respect differences. The truth is not in anybody's pocket. There's no monopoly on that. Most of even theology is open to human interpretation. Therefore, kishem shem patzufem shavos kach ein deosem shavos. It's not my way or the highway anywhere. That's something which is very important. A major issue in Yiddishkeit. Okay. Number 2, min'u b'neichem minei gayon. Keep your children. Now, Rashi says, don't learn Tanakh. that's heavy understanding. But pashtus, what does it really mean? I mean, leave young children away from philosophizing. They're young. Rambam writes at length how that very few people are worthy of entering the world of profound philosophy. They shouldn't go near it until they are bucky and kol avayis the by verava. Rambam writes it in Mefurish and Peri Dadel Dichli. First, no shas. Then he expects you. The Rambam thinks that if you just know shas and you don't go further into profundity of sciences and philosophy, etc., you're not an Adam HaShalem. The Rambam writes it clearly. But Aleph Beis not from Mishnah Shas. That's Aleph Beis. The Rambam writes in the Akdama, before anybody goes into philosophy, he must have a very strong sense of connection to his religion. You have to be very informed and also very profoundly religious. Then he says, yeah, of course, what else are you going to do? Of course, that's the next stage of development, that's how the Rambam puts it. If you read the Akdama of the Moreh Nevuchim and also Peri Daled, you saw the Atar. I think I mentioned it once. Good. So he says, take the children away from, what does that mean? Oh, they're learning Machshava. I'll never forget. You know what would push this into my mind? I'll never forget this. My father, we were davening in Shul. Shul is called Bnei Ruvain. It's in Chicago. And, my dad used to sit he wasn't the Rebbe of the Shul. We used to sit not far from the Mizrach. And this guy comes, I want to say who, I actually remember, and he said this unbelievable, beautiful drasha with all the... And my father sees me salivating, enjoying it, so he gives me a hit in the ribs. Mendel, Teisvus kommt es nicht. Very nice, it doesn't come to a Teisvus. Just remember that. Adkan. That was one of those, Regga mechonein, that's real education, you know what I mean? Very sweet. Tzataisis kumtus nicht. That's the cloud. Okay? That's binu b'deichem inei goyon. First, know your taisus. That's the big yisoid. Weiter. If you understand well, you chap how all nigla is the biggest source for nister. I mean, the beauty of the Ramban is that, if you know how to see it, but you have to know something. But the Ramban said you're supposed to learn your values from the halachas. You're supposed to be able to philosophize the halachas and take out the kernel of value and ideals from it. You can't know it before you know all the halachas, and that doesn't mean reading Mishnah Brura. It means knowing Shas to be able to write the halachas. Okay? So you have to know all that. That's a Mefurish Ramban in Ve'eschanon. Vasisas HaYoshev as a Toiv. How do you know it? By knowing the halachas. So then he says, make sure you send your children to be tutored or to sit amongst scholars, the world of scholarship. That's the world that they should be having. Another thing I heard from my father, which is the same thing. He once told me, the Maram always says, Makshin ha'olam. Did you ever see Maram? Makshin ha'olam. So it says, the world asks. Which world asks? Here on Devon Avenue? Yeah, they don't ask the question there. So where's the world? The world of the Maram asks. He says, Mendel, that's the world you're supposed to be in. The other world, forget about it. The world that asks these kashas, that's the world you're supposed to be existing in. That's your world. Obviously, I'm fly around between worlds. It's really cool, like E.T. But where's your base? Your base is there. That's what it means. So that's what he says. Very nice. Now what else? This is the Yisod. Ukshatem mispalim du'u lifnei mi atem umdim. What does das mean? Das doesn't mean cerebral knowledge. What does it mean? Chachma, Bina, and Das. Chachma is cerebral knowledge, basic knowledge. Bina is understanding. You took a kernel of an idea and you gave it, you fleshed it out. You gave it breadth, height, length. You made, a kernel of a svara developed, nafkaminas, understood, hagdoros, what you're supposed to be doing in your learning activity. Taking an idea and conceptualizing it, broadening it out, and then saying what its parameters are through the different halachas, and finally through that the capability of extrapolating further. So the bina is giving it space, taking almost like a mathematical point and giving it space, dimensions. That's called understanding. Okay, once you understand that, now once you understood the halacha, or understood the piece of Gemara, now you can internalize. Das means to connect to it. when we say there's also a concept of carnal knowledge. Vayeda Adam es ishto. He knew his wife, which means he had carnal knowledge. There was a connection. It was a sexual connection. It's called carnal knowledge. The idea is internalized reality to become internalized knowledge. That's what I call emotional intelligence. Okay, so cerebral intelligence runs between chachma and bina. Das is already emotional intelligence. Okay, so what does the Rebbe tell his children? It's not enough to have chachma. Yeah, shechina, write it down. Da. This is the source of what I taught you before. Baruch Da is who you're standing in front of. You have to know who you're standing in front of. And I honestly believe that each one has something else. It's impossible otherwise. There's no off the rack on this. There's no, you can't buy it in a supermarket. You have to create it. So da elfem yatem einim. Ubishvil kach tisku l'chaya olam haba. So this is the site that I taught you before. It's a super authority. And I'm going to show you a few other halachas just to see how this works. Look at source Hey. Shulchan Aruch says, also lav, here I'm trying to show you, see, this is called learning morals and ethics from Gemara and Shulchan Aruch, okay? It works. Shulchan Aruch says, also lavar keneged ha-mispalim b'toich arba amas. Don't want to go into the halacha l'maisa. There's certain people which they don't, if they daven long, and they're like in the middle of the way. So there's quite a few Rishonim which point out then you don't have to worry about them. And if you daven long, you go in the corner, you don't bother anybody. Zunter, hey, do what you want. Also laver v'dafka lifneim al b'tzadeim muter laver v'lamoid. What's the reason? Dr. Mishnah Berurah, next over there, mipnei shem vatal kavanasai al yedei zeh. Which is honestly true. It's interesting how people, I don't want to say about people that move next to you and like push you. These shuls, all of a sudden you feel like the charge of the light brigade, to the right of me, to the left of me, you get pushed all over the place. No, without that, movement, if you're focused in thought, now what will you focus on? I don't mind people talking about, but if I'm trying to focus, it's not an easy thing to do. You have to be very focused. You need quiet. You know what I mean? That's why closed eyes does help. Okay? Okay? You have to go into a mind experience. Any movement around you, any banging door or anything, that will disturb that intensity. It's a meditative experience, for goodness sakes. It's not just kavona. To conjure up that image, it's heavy work. You have to be very trained to this. I told you before, Shachris is a good tefillah. Ma'ariv Krishma helps. Mincha, I don't think I ever did it. Efshar and Yom Kippur, you know what I mean, when they do a mincha, like a real mincha, you know what I mean. It's not pushy, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's very hard. I mean, maybe, unless there's like, the way I understand it, the da lifnei miyato ayimid of Rebbe Lazar, wish for the best at mincha. You know what I mean? But so he says in the first, because it's about to cover Naseh. V'lechen asur afilu oisik as b'kriya shema. The Chai Adam says, "Hatam they should mafsik bein hamispalel lashchina." That's frightening. What did the Chai Adam say? Pshat in that halacha, because the man is now surrounded with the shechina. Even at the dins, it's also to go even at the side. That means to say, what's the Chayyim understand? Chayyim understands we have to find a source that Makam Shel Adam is Dalad Amis, that's a Gemara Bab Metzia. The Pshat is Aymed there, Shechina means he is enveloped in Shechina. His whole Makam is Shechina. His Dalad Amis, Lefanav, V'achayrav, its Dadav is Shechina. He's not just standing in front of, he's engulfed in. It's a totally different experience. That's what you feel maybe in Ne'ilah. Not just standing in the presence of. The Pshat is, he writes in the first, if you walk into his Dalad Amis, you're being chaitzes beiner lebein Shechina. That means that the Shechina is, you're in this massive of Shechina, and there's a certain reality, and people going by that create a chatzitza. That is a frightening reality. How vivid is this halacha of Ayim Lefnei Shechina? Where did the Chayyim take it? How do you understand that Gemara? It's mamish a vivid reality which has enough communist halacha. You're called a chaitzes b'fnei Shechina. Now this isn't like some verta left, some with the kugel and the chont and the tish. This is like halacha. That's the experience. That's called Daled Lifnei Yirmiyat HaMispala. Ata mukiv b'shchina, your whole, what does it mean by my Daled Amis? What's up with Daled Amis? Because that's my makom. Where am I? Man is defined by time and space. Not man. All of existence. The word is means is a phenomenon within time and space. So the halacha says, my space is called Daled Amis. When I say Oimid B'fnei HaShchina, it means my makom, my whole basic sense of existence, as much as I am with Shechina. That's my space. Where am I? That's what you say. Eina makom b'koim, eina olam b'koimai, hu b'koimai shel olam. He's called makom, the name of God, because he's your space, man. The space, which is the basis, essence of your existence, because existence is a phenomenon bookended between time and space. The space which makes you is God, is Shechina. That's frightening, okay? And that I'm just showing how tefillah and just dinim in tefillah really took tefillah, if it's done correctly, or at least wish to will to want to aspire to do it correctly. This takes learning, thinking, experiencing. It takes a long time. This is not, nothing happens in a day here. But this is where it's supposed to be. Let's look at another halacha. You say, I never understood. We have to learn Sifrei Musar. You also have to learn is Gemara and Shulchan Aruch, and it's frightening what this halacha is. Look at another halacha. It's really frightening. Sif says in Shulchan Aruch and Kuf Gimel, Bikesh lotzes men a ruach. He had a stomach problem. There was some gas about to come out from the bottom, Milamatav, and it's star harbe. Like he hurts, he can't hold it in. Ve'enu yochel hamid asmoit. He's holding middle shmonesser, for goodness sakes. He's Oimid Lifnei HaShchina. You understand? You're not exactly going to let out a Bronx cheer when you're standing in front of the president. Lifnei HaShchina, what are you doing here? So the din is Haylech Achayev Arba Amis. You actually stop middle shmonesser, walk back 4 Amis from where you are. U'moitzi haruach. Umamtin achi yikol erech. You wait till the smell goes, and then you say Vaymer Ribono Olamim. Yitzartanin the kav chalum chalulim. You have created for us, obviously, different holes and different conduits. You obviously know how ashamed we are. Yes, we're very ashamed in life, and we end up being nothing more than food for the worms and death. And you're saying, you know, this is who I am. This is body, and we're frail and meaningless, and I'm really sorry here. And then he goes back to his place. And then you start continue Shmones from where you stopped. Why do you have to be chayzel l'mekayma? Okay, so once you walked away, what's up is the din to be there? Why chayzel l'mekayma? Mamshich makom shepasek, I understand. So kedushas makom. That's the shaila. Why is there halacha of chayzel l'mekayma? Anybody learn brachas in this? You learn brachas? You read brachas. It's also nice. It's an important thing to learn, to read brachas. Okay, but really, what's that din chayzel l'mekayma? Okay, zog the Beis Yosef. Look at the Beis Yosef. Beis Yosef, Sif Zayin. Masha Kotzer Rabbeinu sheyicholi aruach chayzel l'mekayma. Kotzer Rabbeinu agol the Mamri Abu Hav. That's mamash like a door before the Beis Yosef. The reason is you should go back to the place where you started. Why? There's a halach of makom miyuchad l'tefillah, and since that was your place of davening, that becomes a makom miyuchad l'tefillah, so you have to go back to that place. Okay. Now we should discuss why it's important to have a certain place for tefillah. We'll talk about that some other time. That's not true. There's definitely those Rishonim which understand that Makom Miyuchad Tefillah doesn't mean a certain place. It means go to a certain shul. You should be a member of a certain shul. You shouldn't go around steeple hopping. You should have a certain place, so that's where you daven. And it's once again nafkamina for certain people. There's culture of going here there. No. You should have a makom miyuchad. You should have a place which is your shul. Okay, that's where you daven. Hopefully, shul means davening. That's where you should daven. So he says. So this can't be the reason. This can't be the reason. I'm in the shul. So why have to be dafke in this aisle? Avalo boy makom miyuchad lispala boy. You don't need a special chair. You don't need a special aisle. It should be the same building. K'mosh kasavti b'simim psadik, and that's what the Mechaber passes in the halacha. So if that's the case, why over here do we say the halacha, the chayzul and mekayimai? So the Beis Yosef shani hacha, this is different. Shehitchil kvar litpalel, he had already started davening, ukvar kav'ah hashchina makom sham. It's not just you experience or think Shechina. If you experience and you think, God actually is there. And now that became a Makam Shechina. That's the fight. That's the next step. Until now, we spoke about your awareness, about your internalizing ideals. Here, there's the next side of this Beis Yosef, that God is there when people think about Him. The extent of God's presence in your life to the extent that you live with the consciousness of that presence. Your consciousness of that presence is which brings God into your life. And that's what the Beis Yosef says. The Beis Yosef says, Na kakova ashchina makom sham. Because there was a halacha that you said to be mispal lifnei ashchina, and hopefully you did it. Nafkamina would be for a guy which didn't do this anyway. The Terzi doesn't go back because his kavanah ma'akev and tefillah is nothing there. He's not davening Shemona Esrei. He's just saying words. So this doesn't apply to him. We're talking about a person which is davening kedin. He's davening kedin because kavanas lifnei ashchina is ma'akev. What's the halacha? He was if you thought about shchina and you experienced your mukiv b'shchina as we learned before, shchina is actually there. Do you have what you just said? If you want to be in dialogue with God, think about it. See it as vivid and real, and it is real. It's not just a mind reality. It's not just you internalizing a value. The person who lives with internalized value actually creates a relationship. That's Mefusha Rambam and Ramban that we learned this a couple of times, where the Rambam writes in Moreh Nevuchim and the Ramban quotes it in Iyov Lamed Vav, Perek Zayin, that to the extent that a person is davek b'shchina in his mind, that's the extent of hashgacha pratis that he has. He's not talking about John, Dick, and Harry. It's the person which mamish davens with lifnei hashchina. Okay? The Ramban writes that a person who lives with consistent God awareness is nitzol min amikrim. God really protects him from many haphazard realities. Most people don't live that way. And that's why they really have to do a lot of ishtadlus and gashmias, because at the end of the day, we're nitan lemikrim. Haphazard realities occur to us. If you walk under a wall which is about to fall, no one's going to protect you from it, and you didn't get punished. You just are an idiot and not taking care of yourself. I remember we discussed this. You didn't open up your ways, and therefore you got stuck in a traffic jam. Don't blame God. Blame you're an idiot. You have the phone. Open it. Use it. Okay? Get stuck on the belt. Thank you. Try listening to the news, okay, before you do it. Blame yourself. But if you're a person which is davik b'shchina, God will manipulate reality that you will not be affected by that. That's a Ramban in Iyov Lamed Vav Perek Pasuk Zayin. We discussed this one on the Pasuk Lo Yosir Me'at Tzadik Einav. It's a mitzvah in the Torah, l'davka by. The Ramban says, what's the mitzvah? To do your best to be davek b'shchina means live with acute God awareness. Now, no one says you can do it 24/7, but it's supposed to be on your radar screen, on your agenda, and it can realize itself in tefillah. Tefillah is the great laboratory of your efforts, your religious efforts to come to some kind of fruition by a certain sense of really standing in front of God. What you're doing is drawing more hashgacha pratis to you. He's actually there. Karv Hashem l'chol karv. He's actually close to you if you really call him be'emes. If you really daven with Shechina, he's actually there. Das steht in der Beis Yosef, sagt der Beis Yosef, davar mufla. Farkova Shechina maken sham. V'keshebikish li'is'atesh nisrachek mi makam Shechina. Now you walked away from the makam Shechina. V'lachach tzarchu lachzer l'makam shekava l'Shechina. V'l'sayim shama tefillah. Of course. Oimed lifnei hashchina. He's there. You're going to walk further away. That shaykh. Dr. B'chaber Mefurish, this is the halach with the kavan of oimed lifnei tefillah creates a karv Hashem l'chol kairav. He's actually there. This is this Beis Yosef. All this is davening. Could you imagine davening this way? When I said that davening is an unbelievable exercise in internalizing, an exercise of God awareness, yeah. It's called davening. So another halacha, which is really frightening. The Gemara says in Navhei and Brachas, Tanya, Abba Binyamin Omer, Shnayim shenichnasu lispalo. This happens quite often. V'kodem echnem lispalo v'lo hintim es chaveroi. He didn't wait for me, he left. No, the Mishayim and Rishonim of what happened here. Many Rishonim say, because we're talking about, they used to daven in the fields. You left them alone at night. It's wrong. You know, people should walk together, and that's why you say Ashkivenu. That's why you say all those psukim after Shema Yisrael Ad and Chutz Lords. To keep people around, they should walk away together. You know that, right? So here he says, we tear up his prayers. Shenemer toref nafshe be'apay halamancha te'ezev oretz. V'loi oid el shegoyrem l'shchina shetistalik mi-Yisrael. Shenemer vayatek tzur mimkomo. Ve'ein tzur l'kadosh baruch hu shenemer tzur yilocheteshe. You move God away from its place. Zot Rashi. Rashi's pshat in this. Halamancha te'ezev oretz v'chi savur hayita. שבשבילך שיצאת תסתלק השכינה ויעזוב את חברך מספר לפניו. How does Rashi say pshat in this? Not talking about Ma'ariv. Pshat is, don't you understand, when your friend, you daven with your friend, the Shekhinah is there now. How could you walk out? How could you think you're going to walk out, the Shekhinah is going out with you? No, the Shekhinah is there. How could you walk out? It's a big chumrah, this Rashi. Most Rishonim don't learn pshat this way. I'm saying it the way it is. Not you'd all be stuck in until the last one of you davens, brother dear. That would be a problem, wouldn't it? You wouldn't get lunch. But at the end of the day, I'm not joking. You say, you're lucky we don't pashto in this Rashi. Oh, but the Yesod is there. The Yesod is, the pshat is, he doesn't learn that it's Ma'ariv and you're endangering the person from having to walk in the fields alone. It's Makam HaShechina. And the Shekhinah is there. How can you walk away? You travel so far to go to a kever of a Rebbe, right? You go to Hebron for Shabbos, or you go to Kever Rochel. Ich verstehe nicht. Ayi davent, that's Ashras HaShekhinah. And you're walking away? Say another capital Tillim while you're at it. Start asking. He's enveloped in Shekhinah. There is a mitzvah of Shekhinah there. Why do you go to the Kaisel? Why do you go to all these places? Because these are makam of Ashras HaShekhinah. It's a ran in the drushes. Why do you go to a grave of a tzaddik? Because that body was a tool of bringing Kiddush, of Kiddush Hashem in the world. His mitzvahs created more godliness in the world. So his body is like a lightning rod to bring more godliness into the world. So it's a great place for Ashras HaShekhinah. That's why you don't daven to a dead man. That's Avodah Zorah. You daven to the God which was expressed in his life, and you want to connect to it. Yeah. He's like a lightning rod to bring that energy into your life. You go to Hebron, it's a place where the Avos HaOlam are buried. It's whatever God was expressed in their life, that's what you're connecting to there. It's a great place to meet him. That's all these places are. You don't pray to dead people. That's Avodah Zorah. Okay? You pray to God, which was expressed in the life of these people. Okay? Don't you understand? Everybody that davens, it's your Shekhinah, which you have brought down. Remember we discussed the Shekhinah is your Shekhinah? Brother dear, why are you walking away? Oh, his Shekhinah is here. Wouldn't you want to connect to that? Wouldn't you want to daven more lifnei Shekhinah? You have to go to Uman. What for? Okay, it's unbelievable, this halacha. It's a Rashi. This is not like a voodoo book. It's good old-fashioned Rashi, okay? It's enough. It's late already, but I would like to continue, so we'll continue next week more. Next week we're going to talk about the extent of God dealing with you to the extent that you understand Him. The understanding of man, I just want to tell you one thing just to get this how it works. The mashal, there's a book called Emunah B'Tachna of the Ramban. And he writes over there, what's the isser of calling out God's name in vain? He says every time you call out the name of God, it means you're calling him a name and you understand it. You're ma'orer his midah. You awaken him into action. Why are you waking him up if you don't really need it? You say you're calling God, Kale. You know what I mean? Kale means the God of chesed. You don't need it at the moment. Why are you just ringing a bell for him to wake up? He's got other things to do. You're evoking a midah, which at the moment is not necessary. It's a terrible zilzul in the melech. Well, it's like you're pushing him the whole time to do things. I don't really need this. Just want to see how you react. You know what I mean? That's the Yesod of the Isser. I'm trying to say something. Calling out God's name, and the more you call it with your gestalt, with your understanding, the deeper you're calling out. You're mamish ma'orer midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't have to ask anything. Just call out his name and understand it. That's what's frightening. You say that in davening in Rosh Hashanah. I just want you to remember that. What do you say there? Kemoshi adanu sha'asholtan lefanecha. Oh, we know. Well, it's nice that you know, you idiot. Who cares what you know? No, because it's the extent that I know, that's why you're activated. The idea of the Adam is mechayiv. So I'm trying to push here for learning and understanding what we're doing. The more we understand God, the more we activate him, the more he's there, and that is Shechina that we discussed before. Da lifnei miyat tamid palel. Have a great night. See you around. We'll continue this next week.